Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Smite Pro League. My name is Tom Battinger. We've got some land potential today. Let's get into things. I'm joined here by, of course, Taco, and we're going to be talking all about Europe. So today, Obey, Rival are what we're going to start the day off with. Later on, we'll see two other matches. Don't forget, Wednesday, we're not here, so we're not going to be broadcasting. So that day is today.
But it just means bonus smite throughout the rest of the week. We're going to have a triple down day today in comparison to the normal two sets that you guys usually get.
Yeah, really exciting. Like I said, Obey and Rival coming up next, and we'll see Mouse and Energy, and then, of course, Trifecta and United dipping over into North America. But let's take a look at what Europe looks like right now. You can see Energy up there on top, 6-2, and then 6-3 is the second place team. Very close together. Everybody is up here.
But as close as everybody is, it's also very distinctive that there is no clear-cut victor so far headed towards the land right now. Energy, Rival, Dignitas, they're all in heavy contention. So these sets today are critical for pretty much all the teams involved.
Yeah, we've got a whole bunch of different things going on here as far as who's going to be able to come to land. As I said, these are the three matches we're going to get a chance to look at today. No broadcast on Wednesday, and then we're back on Thursday with three more.
And I absolutely love this because the anticipation, I think, for a lot of people has really been eating away at me, at least, because it's exciting just realizing that out of Dignitas, Rival, and Energy, one of these teams, again, is not going to make a return to the Summer LAN.
And it's crazy because all three of these teams are considered, three of the best teams in the world. People are saying maybe they're better than all of the North American teams. So it's very crazy that we see somebody sort of left behind or left at home. Very interesting and very exciting to see where it's going to wind up. So let's talk about how the teams are going to get there. Yesterday, Dignitas did beat up SK, so they've got one check mark there, but you can see Team Rival and Energy, much more simple for them to figure things out.
Yeah, and even with Mouse Sports, they're still technically in contention. Of course, Dignitas have already publicly admitted that they are out of the running, but it's not true. That's not how the numbers go. It all depends on this set today between Rival and Obey.
Yeah, if Rival win a game, then Rival's in. That's it. And Mouse can actually tie up, so things are a little bit more complicated. But at the end of the day, Rival win one game, they're in, which means Dignitas is out and Obey are out. And then Mouse have to hope they're lucky stars so they can tie up with Energy and hopefully topple the top to make it to land. But Rival certainly looking like they're going to be a powerful team.
Rival have been looking fantastic for the past year and a half now.
Yeah.
So it's very... I can understand Dignitas' feelings as far as not feeling comfortable or confident that Obey's got it in them to take down Rival. But then again, it's so hard to call it because Obey, for what it's worth, I mean, they've been a roller coaster of performance-wise because it's... Sometimes you got the highs, most of the time you get the lows, but then the highs always come when they need it most.
That's really the key, is that when Obey find themselves back against the wall, they are able to perform. PrettyPriMe, one of the biggest impact players in the league, so it's certainly something that these guys have to watch out for. Rival across the way, though, I mean, things have been coming up perfect for them pretty much all throughout the year, and a lot of it has to do with their support player. Collis has been a big part of what Rival bring to the table.
Still firmly believe that the Collis and Vote are probably the most improved duo lane that we've had throughout the entirety of the SPL, because watching their initial game debut to where they currently stand, Collis has really evolved as a player overall, and his skill potential has just increased tenfold. It's crazy.
I mean, he started as a substitute for Paradigm at LAN, remember? And now he's sort of helming his own team, and the way that everybody sort of works together on the squad is really impressive.
It's really interesting, though, still seeing, because Rival are very much still true to that unique style of play where they are full-on utility aspects. Their compositions might not initially make a lot of sense because they don't go for the flashy style of gameplay, even though we've seen them turn some pretty flashy plays around. I mean, I can't say that when the Ares clip just surfaced.
Well, you know what I mean? It's like the flashy plays are there. Sometimes that's what's necessary, and they're just down to do what's necessary, whether it's Bologna or Apuage solo. They're just down to do what the game demands of them, which is, that's what you expect out of a team that's been on top, winning the spring split. Obey, though, they've had some issues, and we'll see what happens here against Rival. I mean, Obey, like I said, when the going gets tough, everybody looks towards PrettyPriMe, but iRaffer, the latest addition to this team, I mean, how does he impact Obey?
I think that iRaffer is going to be the biggest decision factor for this match entirely, because iRaffer to me feels like one of those players where if he's entirely about the match that he is in, you are never going to see a loss occur as long as he's on that Obey roster. And I think that's been made evident in their sets versus energy. But the question is, when is iRaffer going to finally start translating that drive to beat energy against every single one of the other teams? Because if we're being honest, like I don't personally see it. I don't see that same level of iRaffer gameplay against any of the other teams. It only seems to come out of him when they're versus energy, and whether it's grudge or whatever you want to call it, he needs to start harnessing some of that for the regular day sets. That way, you see the levels of consistency coming forward from Obey that everybody knows his team is capable of, because these are all top players for their respective roles.
I wish I didn't agree with you so much right there. And that's exactly how I pretty much see Obey as well. Hopefully iRaffer has what it takes to topple down Rival. Game number 1, picks and bans on the way, and Obey will have the first choice.
And I'll admit it, I've been doubtful the whole way through. I was really gunning for Obey. It looked promising at the very start of the summer split, and then suddenly the fizzle through came out, and it just did not look like it was there, like we all were initially led on to believe. And now, up against Rival here today, I mean, this is not going to be an easy task to take on. I think one of the biggest challenges Obey is going to have to face against Rival is that not only are Rival consistent, but they're consistent at the unconventional.
That's really the key here. And for Obey, I want to see them go back to sort of old classics. I want to see CaptainTwig play on something that can facilitate PrettyPriMe, and hopefully PrettyPriMe can bring something big, damage-orienting. No Shankui is going to be banned out. No Giannis either, as Obey banned that out first overall. Athena and Chang'e going to join the ranks. So first choice on the way.
I'm expecting to see a lot of wacky choices here coming through from both sides, because Chang'e, very clear you don't want to let Xaliea have this god. At the same time, you also don't want to have to worry about Rival picking it up, because they could certainly make use, but that does leave Artemis out in the open, and Obey will not even hesitate the first picker.
First selection, huge impact in the late game. Critical strike, very important. Rival going for the semi-global Ratatoskr. Ice has been the opposite of his namesake. He's been very hot lately. And at number 2 is going to be Thoth. So no real surprises here so far.
I like this. You've got a decent setup through the Cosmos, landing straight into the final judgment. Got to make sure that you don't get caught up in that knockup. But more importantly, Ratatoskr is going to have that mobility to try and punish on Artemis. Maybe going to expect to see a lot of iceicebaby hovering that dual lane sector, hoping to get off some purple and red buff invades as well as ganks, because the one thing you want to do is suppress the Artemis early on.
Certainly something what you're looking for, but the Sylvanus Artemis lane will have dominance for sure. I don't even need to see who's going to be on the other side. This is almost undoubtedly going to be a pressure lane coming out from Obey. On the Erlang Shen, this character has been played in a couple of different positions. I would not be surprised to see CaptainTwig take it into the jungle, and Odin will be a choice for Rival.
Odin is a really strong choice here also. I don't think that Obey were fully expecting this to come so early, but Odin, it's not something that we haven't seen Deathwalker perform in the past. This could also possibly be a support Odin, although I would lean more towards solo simply because the Erlang Shen has been locked in, and I'm not fully convinced that this is a jungler Erlang just yet. There is that little bit of ambiguity that Obey do have going for them, but if it were to have been a solo Erlang, I think I might be shifting that more towards CaptainTwig now.
I'm not completely convinced that Rival's going to be playing Ratatoskr jungle. I mean, the
Fair enough.
Ice Odin is one of the better Odins in the league. Solo Ratatoskr, not a surprise. And we were just saying, Rival doesn't pick weird stuff just because. They pick weird stuff because of the reason. Odin here is an excellent pick, and it's arguable that Ice is the best Odin player on the team. So that would be a reason to kind of go a little bit weird and put the Ratatoskr in the solo lane.
Credit where credit is due, by the way, to Alpha Jackal, I think, for some of these drafting strategies. He spends a lot of time putting in the hours. Same could be said for Obey's coach, Hazer, although they are on two different sides of the spectrum in terms of success, but that's just for Season 5. These guys are still really established, I would say, in the competitive Smite scene, and they definitely do their homework.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Both these guys come completely prepared, and look at these drafts, I'm excited. I think Erlang Shen is the perfect setup for Scylla, whether he's in the jungle or the solo side, and then paired up with the Cerberus tells us that it will be in the jungle, so I'm very happy to see that go down with the Scylla. Rival, one more choice, and that's going to answer a lot of questions. It's Khepri.
I love the Khepri choice here. Khepri also feels like one of those gods where you kind of just forget about him. And if I'm not mistaken, it was actually iRaffer originally on that old energy roster back in the day. I can't remember which LAN it was that they initially brought back the Khepri, but no one had an answer to the bug. That res just so strong in a LAN environment, and I'd imagine it's going to have the same repercussions for Obey today because they've got a heavy pick composition going. Scylla, she ideally wants to just target down one member for the heavy burst, and the one thing that Khepri's best at is protecting one individual.
We'll see if Khepri is going to be enough. Rival and Obey for the LAN. Game number 1.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Taco. Finch and Toli going to be the ones bringing you the action, and what a big set this one is. Rival needs to get the Twins and go ahead and get that qualification to LAN and Obey. They got a long checklist, but it starts right here with 2-0.
If they can find the victories over Rival, then they are on the right path because that is the team to beat. You're looking at Rival, Energy, and Dignitas as the top 3. Obey has always been up for discussion, but haven't really executed correctly enough. The spring was a slow start, summer a little bit better. I wouldn't be surprised to see this team absolutely skyrocket in the fall split.
No, not at all. They've been slowly kind of building, haven't they, and very much impressing lately. So we got to see if they can continue to build on that. Maybe not have to wait till fall to see some results. And we'll see who you all think in the results later on is going to win this game. Go ahead and vote for us in the Mixer poll right now and let us know.
And I think that Rival are always going to be on the up and up. The way they're able to take a little bit of adversity and then bounce it back on its head. The way that they bounced back in the Spring Masters LAN and, you know, having a relatively pretty comfortable start. Only one step away now to close out their LAN.
Really not that much they got to do just to get a win here. You know, it's not a whole lot to ask from them, but Obey going to do everything they can to make that not easy for them. Obey have the squad ready to go here. Xaliea in the soul lane with that Cerberus. He's ready to rock.
And even though Rival and a lot of other high-caliber teams are always taking it one game at a time, Rival, if they lose this set but only win one game, I think they're still going to have that bittersweetness once they approach the line. Like, man, we should have won that set against the Obey Alliance. They're a team of contenders that really want to find every single victory, and that's what makes them so dangerous, that the fact that they won't just be satisfied with one win. They want it all.
No, you're exactly right. And Rival, you know, they want to, not only do they win in spring, but they want to come back here and win in summer again. They haven't had a stretch of dominance. They've kind of been slowly building up to the point where they could be second place at Worlds, to where now they can win in spring, where they can be in the top on online stages as well. So I'm sure that they want to get to that point where they can continually show that they might be the best in the world. And so far, at least in Season 5, they've kind of been showing that.
I like the fact that Obey are not slowing down the pressure. Vote taking so much damage to start off. Callus hugging besides Vote simply to utilize that Khepri passive to make sure that if Vote does get poked out, at least it'll be the Khepri passive shield, not Vote's actual health bar.
Gonna send them back towards that purple buff. Already got the wave cleared, so Obey happy to come back and grab it. This time, Team Rival are going to be the ones piloting the Odin to try and cause some problems with that cage and get that to rotate over. Wow, 71% voting for Rival, their favorite. But it's going to be the Odin that came out. Even during picks and bans, they still banned the Aphrodite afterwards, even with the cage already, really respecting the sustain that Obey might be able to grab later on.
Both teams really recognizing the pathing from iCeicebaby as he was approaching the red buff. No hesitation, CaptainTwig invading the blue buff, being able to strip away those back cams. It's going to allow Xaliea a lot of freedom as a Guardian to start getting some control over this warrior Odin.
CaptainTwig really has kind of opened up some space, and you talked about how Ice pathing didn't quite work out, but Twigs did, so that really can give them a bit of an early start. Now Ice is going to come back to realize a lot of this jungle has already been stripped away from him, and Prime and Twig can kind of bully in mid.
And if we look at the solo lane at this point, Xaliea is freezing the lane. Deathwalker had to back earlier, and there's going to be a lot of missed experience. Already 3 melee minions, no gold or experience for Deathwalker. This is a race to level 5 between these two, and Xaliea is going to win that race.
And Xaliea, as soon as he does, has a great opportunity with that Stygian Torment to pull him back towards the tower. Deathwalker would have the meditation trying to help him heal through it, but no other real CC immunity to get him out of that.
That's true, and have to be mindful about utilizing that jump once Cerberus does hit level 5. If you're already getting bullied out level 2 versus level 2, well, it's not going to get any prettier 3 versus 2, as Deathwalker already using the meditation as soon as he gets back to the lane.
Just different types of mentalities here between that. The teleport by some has been picked up, by some it's been dropped off while they look for alternatives. Meditation, one of those. That can achieve a slightly similar goal, help you stay in lane longer, or help you not miss out on farm by way of that sustain, as Deathwalker have been forced to use it early on.
And the thing is, with the recent changes to Breastplate of Valor, or at least the Tier 1 version of it, going from 500 to 600 gold, this is why Xaliea is opting to go for the Boots 1, because it'll disrupt picking up the health chalice if you go for a breastplate with the Warrior's Blessing. And Xaliea still doing a good job in terms of winning these trades despite not having that 20 physical protection that he would have had a patch or two ago.
Look at this. He wants to be there for the blue buff spawn. Deathwalker is not. He's making the rotation over to mid. Harvest and giving it up. Now Twig in some troubles. He tried to come grab his own red, but Rival are here for the collapse. Knock up, impale, first blood. Going over to vote. Rival looking clean.
Last time iceicebaby tried to steal this away by himself. This time Rival are like, all right, we'll help you out. Let's go together as a cohesive unit. Rival traveling in a pack in the jungle. No stray gazelles for Obey to pick off.
Bro, they brought the squad that time, didn't they? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's like you drive up, you're going to play like a basketball game, and everyone was way taller than you the first time. You're like, oh, no. So you bring back all your tall friends the second time, like, now what? Now what?
Or a dance-off where it's like you got schooled by like 3 people and it's only yourself, and then you bring 3 of your guys, and all of a sudden they're doing some head spins.
That's right, ready to come in and break it down, and that's what Rival were able to do. Already off to a good start. Obey, with so much on the line, have got to find a way. It's only one first blood, only one invade. They got to regroup and respond to that and come up with their own answer. Even though they got that kill, Iceice still a little bit behind Twig.
And that's simply because of the amount of time that he wasted on the original red buff invade. During that first red buff attempt invade, CaptainTwig was able to strip away the blue, strip away the back camps of the right side, gaining a very significant advantage. And that's going to start to get mitigated as the game progresses. With a 1 death, CaptainTwig was out of the game for about 10 seconds or so. It takes you about 15 seconds to go from your fountain to your speed buff, and that gave iceicebaby plenty of time to catch up in the experience.
Now Iceice looking good, ready to continue rocking and rolling. Remember, he has the acorn. He's able to keep that one upgraded even while he's outside. So Twig electing instead to get the tier 1 starting to work into that pin tree, and only has tier 2 boots. So Iceice is going to be moving around the map a little bit faster too.
Wouldn't be surprised if Rival continue the pressure onto the red buff side as PrettyPriMe looking for these right side mid harpies, only to find out Wlfy already completing it with a crush down now. It's going to be a good idea for Wlfy to clear this out as soon as possible.
Well, Ataraxia could be in trouble. No ultimate available yet, and beads have to be expended by Iceice, but that's a good trade. Finds the kill on Ataraxia.
Good recognition of abusing this Artemis before she hits level 5. Ataraxia just hit it during the scuffle. Rival continuing the red buff invade.
Twig now in some trouble, has a 9 turns blessing, pulls Vote back in, but Vote has Desert Fury and hunts him down. Prime goes up into the I'm a Monster, does manage to land, but it's not enough. Vote still standing. They come back towards the red buff. iRaffer's coming in to try and stop this on his own, but he's got to be careful.
Not without Blink. It's not realistic to make a play happen. Without I'm a Monster, without Ataraxia really being there, you're not going to look for the defense. Rival capitalizing on the global pressure of iceicebaby.
iceicebaby did a great job because they've been looking toward these red buffs routinely anyway, but being able to also find Ataraxia to set up right before he's level 5, before the ultimate's available, gets a nice easy kill, uses beads to get away from the trap, and then they can come over and get that red buff invade, no problem.
A lot of damage from Xaliea, but Deathwalker's about to deal just as much. Not going to actually commit to the jump quite yet, knowing that Xaliea can use that Stygian Torment. And the idea behind Rival and all these red buff invades is simply trying to shut Ataraxia down. Not because he's Nate Mark, but simply because the fact that he's an Artemis late game potential is super scary, whereas on the flip side, Vote is playing the Anhur, which is a great mid-game catalyst. And if you have that early to mid-game pressure, you're going to be able to really shut down this Artemis and start controlling some Gold Furies.
It's not just Artemis, but I mean, even Scylla, right? They have 2 of these gods that really kind of want to get towards that late game to where they're really swinging. Prime's gone with the Book of Thoth start, and now there could be a little bit more trouble. iRaffer has to use Ratatoskr to avoid getting knocked up. Crushes good damage. That forces Rival back. Iceice and Collis both get a little bit chunked, and now Twig's here to even up the numbers, but Rival already on the retreat.
Good patience from all of Rival, not wanting to commit the dash with iceicebaby for the Acorn Stone follow-up, because that would put him really out of position, and trading your life as a jungler for the enemy support is not all worth it unless you can get multiple kills and potentially a neutral objective, but that wasn't guaranteed in the writing for Rival.
Cage drops down from Deathwalker. CaptainTwig stuck in it. Does have the 9 turns blessing. Gets the knock up on just about everyone and is now looking for the escape. Gets the heal off. Evade and punish not going to land, but the stun from iCeicebaby does. I'm a monster off the mark in the back, and Callus now in some trouble. Stygian Torment to keep him controlled. Can't hit res himself. Xaliea gets the first kill for Obey.
And without the Scarab's blessing, that was a clean pick, but at least iCeicebaby answers in kind. PrettyPriMe gets
Nice
stunned
stun.
out. He doesn't have his Sentinel. He finds the slow, but he gets slowed in kind.
Now, Deathwalker wants to keep up the chase, but he can't catch up to PrettyPriMe. Prime did everything you could possibly do to stay alive. Gets the turnaround, sick him. Remember, he doesn't have any extra health, no extra cooldown. He went that Book of Thoth. PrettyPriMe to make it out of there really perfect.
Rival getting the better end of things, trading their own support for the enemy soul lane or stripping away the blue and the back camps. Getting these little neutral objectives allows them to really start controlling it. Look at the gold advantage and more importantly the experience of that last team fight. 1,500 went in the way of Rival, only 1,000 for Obey, and still putting a little bit of pressure onto Ataraxia's vote. Has some pressure.
iCeicebaby eats the crush to the face. Twig wants to keep fighting. Scarab's blessing comes out. Anna through the Cosmos, so iCeice goes back in aggressive. Great call. Able to get the turnaround kill on the Twig.
That's the team synergy that you love to see as a caster, honestly. You're like, all right, I'm using my ultimate to escape, but hey, I got a Scarab's blessing.
Yeah.
Let's go in for round 2.
And that's such great recognition from Twig, because, or rather from iCeice, because he doesn't hesitate even a moment. I'm with you. That ultimate initially from him through the Cosmos is to just get out. But the second Scarab's blessing comes out, goes back in, gets the kill. If he dies, he'll get rezzed. If not, he's good. 3-0-2, level 10 now for Ice.
And unfortunately for PrettyPriMe, he was reading the escape path, trying to go to the left side mid Harpies was iCeicebaby, but because he used the ultimate, it stops him in place, and PrettyPriMe's prediction wasn't to be fruitful, and that dropped the kill before the Scarab's blessing happened. Either way, though, Obey Alliance need to find a way to come back because they're constantly getting aggressed on. They're not really making the plays themselves.
I'm with you on that one totally, but it feels a little bit that it's been Twig just a bit out of positioning. In that last big fight, that was him up near those XP camps. This fight just now, where he takes it up against iCeicebaby in the jungle. I feel like the difference has been the positioning of these two junglers and how well iCeice really has been able to time his ganks and punish when Twig steps out.
And honestly, Twig is not normally known for this kind of Erlang Shen play performance. He's more of your traditional assassin type, not like your warrior basic attacker, but Erlang Shen is just definitely one of these guys that got a little bit of changes recently where his ultimate's getting a little bit of a longer taunt duration, and that's important to kind of set up your Scylla that has so much follow-up damage.
Well, up in the air one more time as iCeicebaby. Twig could yet again end up being the target. Knock up lands, but he has the heal ticking and ready to come through. Twig's low, but Ataraxia falls first. iRaffer is in between everyone. Vote's very low. Scarab's blessing comes out just to make sure but Rival are ready to retreat.
That was such an important Scarab's blessing because Vote got some dots on him from iRaffer, so keeping the Hunter alive. Callus doing such a wonderful job this game, being able to really save some of his teammates' life or just allowing them to go back in.
And it's not even just the Scarab's blessings, which have been great. It's been these roots. That one, of course, soon as I say it, is a little bit off the mark, but Callus really has been setting up well for the rest of this squad, working in tandem with iCeicebaby. Wlfy's been right there with the stuns as well. It's been such great teamwork from Rival, and when they look like this, totally, don't they look like they could beat anyone when they're playing this well?
It feels that way, and Obey can't even capitalize on the purple buff invade because they just lack a little bit of mobility. Scylla doesn't want to commit with a Sentinel, and by rushing the Book of Thoth, she only had the tier 2 boots while she was going to the purple buff, just now finishing off those pen boots, and that's what allowed Rival to play this aggressive and reposition themselves, make those offensive plays, and then just be a little slippery to prevent any damage from PrettyPriMe.
And that's the one upside to PrettyPriMe's build, right, is that even though they are a little bit behind, he is certainly still swinging. If CaptainTwig can find some setup for him, if they can find CaptainTwig to be the initiator, if iRaffer can get a pull or a Ratatoskr, Prime can absolutely still do some damage, even though he's behind Wlfy, even though CaptainTwig's behind iCeice. They just need to be able to find their fight.
Looking for something on the left side. I think that they're going to be looking to play aggressive. Vote sitting at level 11 versus the level 10 out of Ataraxia. He has a little bit more attack speed with that light blade, but not going to look to be aggressive quite yet. Instead, looking to rotate in middle where there could easily be some setup here. 2-level advantage for Wlfy onto this Thoth that has just way more cooldown reduction than PrettyPriMe.
Deathwalker going aggressively, not going to be able to strip away the blue buff. CaptainTwig meets up with him. Xaliea looking to maybe try and land a stun. Ice has backed. They trust Deathwalker's out of here. No, iceicebaby stops the back, trying to help out if there ends up being trouble. Stygian Torment is going to pull him back into the crush. I'm a monster, not enough damage. Deathwalker still standing for now. Taunt lands from Twig, but Ice takes him down. Deathwalker survives it all.
It's all a bait, and Xaliea is on the wrong end of it. CaptainTwig fell right before the solo laner, and man, what a turnaround play. And Rival, they're not done yet.
Ice wants PrettyPriMe underneath the tower. Knock up lands, spins. That's not enough to get the kill. It finds it with the Acorn Blast. iceicebaby 6-0-3, a part of all 9 kills. Somebody slow this man down. Pyromancer gonna be the next target for
Rival are here to play, not slowing down, min-maxing every given opportunity to them. Immediately going for a neutral objective after finding 3 quick kills. iceicebaby canceled his back, realizing Deathwalker was in a little bit of trouble. Both Wlfy and Callus was making the rotations. Scarab's Blessing wasn't even necessary. That's how good of a bait that was. This Deathwalker survival was so crucial. If you're going to gank an Odin that's sitting at level 12 with already Genji's guard, you got to do it before those defenses come online, so that way Xalia's damage is actually going to be impactful.
It's just tough. If he's up against a physical solo laner, that same play might work, but because he itemized into Genji guard early, like this, Prime doesn't do enough damage to him. I mean, they do the sick, they do the crush, I'm a monster. Yep. They have him in the cage, right? It's just too late. Deathwalker with that extra shield, with some of those magical prods, is just too tanky.
And also the little bit of cooldown reduction from Genji's guard, able to get those shields up more often, being able to jump away when he really needs it. Sitting at 9-1, Rival commanding this game, but still not overstepping any boundaries with Gold Furies until it's guaranteed. Once they have all this level lead and relic advantage, sitting at 9 relics to only about 5.
Pull in onto Xaliea. Crush is going to return the favor on the Callus, who's low and trapped to the point where you use Scarab Blessing on himself. He had to. He does get re-res. Deathwalker takes down iRaffer. Callus does eventually fall to CaptainTwig, but he has to overcommit. Vote returns the favor. Vote jumps away. Up in the air is iceicebaby, and the target on the back end is going to be Ataraxia. Sprint, not enough.
Vote barely able to die there. It's a 3 for 2, though, and Rival still not done. Xaliea finally making his presence felt, forcing the jump from Xaliea, but not wanting to overstep. I believe Rival are going to go for this Gold Fury. They have the health after the meditation, or it just could be a bait.
They are trying to see if they can get Xaliea and Prime to poke their heads in. Jump over. Brings Prime already down to half HP. Xaliea on the back end gets caught out by Wlfy and Ice. He has to jump away. Ice blink forward. Stun kill Xaliea. We'll see in 36 seconds.
And that should be a free Gold Fury after that point. I don't think that PrettyPriMe is going to be able to really do anything about this without the I'm a monster. So he goes to mid, gets a wave in, allowing Rival to secure this Gold Fury uncontested at the 15-minute mark.
And that really was the best fight we've seen from Obey yet, and they lost it front to back. I mean, they catch out Callus at the beginning of the fight, which is great. Force him to use Scarab's Blessing defensively on himself, but Callus able to live so long and absorb so much, and Twig has to go too far to get that kill that the rest of Rival are able to turn that one around.
Khepri is just able to absorb so many abilities between not only the passive, but by also mitigating your own damage with the Rising Dawn. And then guess what? He also has Scarab's Blessing to revive himself. And that's like 3 extra lives that a Khepri really has. So if you don't have that execute in your team composition, it's just much more difficult to handle the hug bug.
And this situation ends up working out for them. Callus pays his life, but I think he'd do it every day of the week in order to get his team 4 kills, to get them the Gold Fury, and this positional advantage where they're up almost 6,000 gold just 16 minutes into the game. Rival, they know that they just need one more game to get themselves to land, and they want to grab it right here.
And they're definitely on the right pace to do so. With the Gold Fury they just got a minute ago, with this crazy kill count advantage, they're able to really get whatever they want. The experience is just the writing on the wall, the advantage that Vote has over Ataraxia, the pressure that they did onto the red buff of Obey Alliance has certainly worked, and now equated to Rival having this mid-game control. The remaining answers to the equation has to be, how can they continue this pressure before Ataraxia and PrettyPriMe hit level 20, because Scylla and Artemis are nightmares in the late game.
They're going to be monsters, absolutely. And that's why Team Rival have sort of done this lead in the right way, right? Collis, for the most part, was a little bit behind iRaffer, only recently just got even. You can see a bit of an experience deficit. Deathwalker only recently passed Xaliea. They put their leads in the most important spots, jungle, mid, and hunter, and now CaptainTwig running up against it.
CaptainTwig trying to turtle away, but he's so slow because of the obelisk. Desert Fury and a couple of basic attacks will seal the deal.
A little bit too stubborn, perhaps. Their Twig trying to help defend that purple buff, but up against Ice and Vote, it was just too much. They were able to eventually bring him down. Ataraxia is still here by the tier 1, but they don't want him. They want this fight in mid lane. Tier 1 being looked at. Deathwalker actually going to jump towards iRaffer to force him back, but the loop around's happening.
Oh, iRaffer trying to escape into safety, but the rest of Rival are collapsing on him. Actually going to force PrettyPriMe out. Vote jumping in, gets the basic attack before the crush explodes.
And gets the Aegis, so doesn't take damage from the Phoenix. Xaliea has been abducted back in. iRaffer low, and Deathwalker jumps up and right back down. It's not quite enough for the kill, as Ataraxia has to use Aegis to get away from Vote. Ice still has the ultimate after all this that's gone on. Xaliea could certainly be in some trouble, but instead Ice falls back.
He's too low.
They give up on the tier 2 for now.
He was too low to really make that commit happen. Xaliea goes in, but he gets stunned out, pushed away by Vote. Deathwalker gonna miss the jump, but he's gonna have his slow in a moment.
Should be able to take this down. No, it's Collis comes in. He wants to be a part of the kill fiesta that's happening. Twig has nowhere to go. Already used his beads, uses the 9 turns blessing. Deathwalker actually takes more than he wants in return. Ataraxia finds a kill. Twig still alive inside the cage, but Desert Fury is enough.
Just the range, a little bit too much for CaptainTwig to handle. He resurrected after that purple buff death, only to fall yet again under the tier 2 tower, as Rival commanding their lead even further with 2 towers in the mid lane, extending to 9,000 gold almost, over 11,000 experience.
And this is tough. I mean, I don't think this is a feeling of Erlang Shen. This has been positional problems from Twig, and that's just not what we normally see. 1-7-2. He's been getting bullied out throughout this entire game. Now Ice level 17, 7-0 and 9 is free to move around the map at will to do whatever he likes. Deathwalker undeterred when he sees Erlang Shen and can kind of stand underneath the tier 2 tower and take extra shots. It's really freed up a lot of space for Rival to act freely.
And the question remains is, are they going to go for this Fire Giant now, or are they just going to continue to look for the remaining towers before they continue for this late game objective? Pyromancer, very easy to confirm for such of a lead, so I'm not surprised that they at least check this mark off before continuing down the list.
iRaffer steps in, does get rooted, but Rival not going to commit onto the tree just yet. They're not ready to pull this Fire Giant, but they already have a tremendous lead at about 9,000. They're out in front gold-wise. Experience is just as bad. Look at this. Kyle's able to go to the Hide of Urchin early on and already has 4 stacks. That's enough to make that item efficient already.
It's because Rival are just winning these team fights, so why not stack this item as quickly as possible? iRaffer, with the Gauntlet of Thebes, needs to rely on sit in lane to farm for as long as possible, and that was the biggest difference, the fact that Callus goes for this selfish build, which is not really selfish if Rival's game plan is to go for team fights anyway. You're not going to have time to stack up Gauntlet of Thebes, so really min-maxing the current state of the game.
That's a good point. The item is somewhat selfish, right? Because it only helps him. It doesn't help anyone else. But it's altruistic in the fact that it frees up Collis to be in team fights more often now. And that impact has certainly been felt. Vote and Deathwalker are going to grab the Gold Fury. Wlfy sort of hanging around in the jungle. Not really much aggression from Obey. They're positioning more around the Fire Giant side of the map, making sure that's not being stolen away. But all the while, Tier 1 and Duo comes down. Gold Fury Rival slowly pushing that lead out even further.
And unfortunately for Obey, they don't really have many options to defend these objectives or even these towers. They just have to sit and farm or maybe look for split pushes on the opposite side of the map. That's exactly where CaptainTwig is trying to catch up in the level department as he gets zoned away by Deathwalker, not going to allow his tier 2 tower to fall.
And Obey are right to sort of fall back and defend because their options are still there, totally. I mean, I feel like they still have some opportunities, right? They've got the Soul Reaver, Pin Boots, Book of Thoth start from PrettyPriMe. That's still chunks. Itemizing into Rage now is Ataraxia. I mean, even though Rival are this far ahead, they still got to pay some respect to these carries.
It's very true, and that's why they're not going for the Fire Giant, because one, connected I'm a monster on a reset is just too scary to really deal with. If they can get PrettyPriMe out of the team fight, don't have to necessarily kill him, maybe just get him low enough to scare him away. That could open the door for the Fire Giant, or they're just going to bait it out right now.
That's what they're doing. They're forcing it down, and Obey Alliance, they can't come defend. Either that or they don't recognize it's happening, but Fire Giant's going to go over to Team Rival for free. They've earned this map pressure that they've gotten and turned it into a Fire Giant. Now with some tier 2 towers to go push down, they can take him at any moment, but Twig might not even be alive to see it happen.
Trying to find a good shell coming out from iRaffer, buys CaptainTwig that extra second to get the heal off.
That's all it takes for him to live, but iRaffer might pay for it, trading his life to save the life of CaptainTwig. Ataraxia going to continue to push in duo, it looks like. Not going to be for the defense. It's only Xaliea to try and slow them down, but the wraparound iCeicebaby is going to catch him out. Dashes in, stun, spin for more damage. Wlfy looking for the evade and punish, but not going to connect.
Good jump from Xaliea, avoiding that evade and punish. Not going to find the stun, but Rival, meanwhile, are really stretching Obey out by being able to get the middle Phoenix, while everyone else was just kind of busy doing other things. Ataraxia was split pushing on the left to get some experience for himself, with Raffer dead, by CaptainTwig having to back to base. The whole map is basically open for Rival to do what they please.
I hope no one thought that Rival was going to chill after getting that spring win, man. They are clearly still hungry, coming in very clean so far. Xaliea goes in with the Stygian Torment, but immediately gets blown up. Wlfy on a killing spree. Team Rival take Phoenix in right lane as well.
Deathwalker able to jump away. Ataraxia uses his defensive relics. He gets stunned in place. iCeicebaby taking him out as PrettyPriMe gets taken out. A clean 4 kills. Only CaptainTwig left alive as Rival is trying to control game 1.
And then looks like this game's already over, totally. They only have CaptainTwig up to try and defend. Team Rival in dominant fashion, under 24 minutes, take game 1 away from Obey Alliance, punch their ticket to land.
Wow, 22-4, what a performance. 8-0-13 for iCeicebaby, 8-1-6 for Vote on the Anhur, and the strategy from Rival worked out perfectly. You sit in the dual lane to shut down Ataraxia's Artemis. The late game potential from that got us too much. By also shutting down the Artemis with the red buff invades, you're also by proxy shutting down the Scylla that would benefit from the experience and the damage. And that strategy worked out wonders because Rival had the mid-game control. They got the Gold Furies that they needed. They found the picks that they needed with the selfish Khepri build to just extend their lead.
It was such a great strategy from them, not just looking at that red buff, but punishing CaptainTwig as well. They did a great job sort of shutting down that core, right? The Hunter mid-jungle combination of Obey. And that's going to lead us to the question for you all there at home. Who is your MVP? I wouldn't have any qualms with voting for iCeice. What a great performance on the rest.
He was just all over the map. Even when he was deterred away from the first red buff invade, he was still able to continue the pressure. The rest of his teammates were right beside him, and he looked for the one play that he did at the left side mid-Harpy when he got Scarab's Blessing just to go back in. That was spicy.
Yeah, just a great recognition. I love it from iCeicebaby, and they're clearly looking comfortable. Rival not resting on their laurels at all after their spring win. They are still want to come out and show what they can do, and they've done it here in this game. Let's go ahead and break down what happened here in Game 1 on the desk.
Thanks a lot, friendos. Yeah, from what I saw, iCeice just performed out of his mind. He had 100% kill participation for a lot of the game, just out of control.
That's just something to be said, though, because Rival's initial pressure that they were able to establish from the start really carried over well throughout the entire duration of this match. It just felt like there was almost zero time for Obey Alliance to even bother trying to recover. And even in the moments where you would see those like sparks of life starting to shine through, it was just instantly put right back out again because iCeicebaby would show up to the fight, Deathwalker would show up to the fight, Wlfy would just be non-stop barraging with tons of extended range poke damage, and that's pretty evident in the player numbers.
8-0-13 for the Fenrir in the jungle, just iCeice out of control, and this has been kind of standard for Team Rival. They've historically been a team that has always gotten their wins throughout the whole team, but recently it's all been about iCeice. He's just been out of control.
I think that's something about where all the members of Rival have kind of hit their different periods where it's like they're taking turns of who's in the spotlight this month, guys.
Yeah, I see that a lot. Right now, it's all this guy. iCeicebaby on the Fenrir in the jungle, just making the ganks here from minute 1. and just not messing it up whatsoever.
And this was part of the concern that we brought up during the picks and bans, specifically because of that through the cosmos. It's just so impossible for an Artemis to try and run away from this. Ataraxia, for as far back as he would try to play in these team fights, the moment that he stepped forward, Ice right there on top of him to meet him. And every single time that you think that Ataraxia might have a small glimpse of survival, shivering through, it's just, again, Rival trounces it immediately.
Extremely well done by Rival here. And with that, I mean, that's going to ensure that Rival actually go to land. One win is all they really needed here. So they're coming to land, all set and done. Energy, most likely, but Mouse can still tie up. So we certainly want to keep an eye on what's going to keep going on throughout the week. But for right